Hi everyone, how are you Scooby-Dooby doing? My name is Dana and I love Scooby-Doo because I grew up with it and it's just a comfort film / program to this day. So come join the Scooby-Doo journey with me. First, let me address the elephant in the room. I haven't posted since the end of November. First of all, I hope you had a great Christmas and a happy new year. Also, that you have all been safe and well in these bizarre times. I have been on a long hiatus and I apologise. It's been a crazy time for me, as well as a lot of you, I'm sure. Lots of things have happened and I feel like I'm in a better place at the moment. I also started streaming, which I really enjoy, but it's a lot easier and quicker than writing a script, watching the episodes several times, and then recording and editing for this podcast. So I'm going to try and balance my time a little better and hopefully we'll do a bit better. Fun fact, in this episode, the villain is actually helped by the gang. This is the 12th episode of my podcast. I forgot about this episode, but I actually really like it and I can't believe I didn't remember it first. This episode is about What's New Scooby-Doo, Season 1, Episode 12, Lights, Camera, Mayhem. I'll be telling you all about this episode and also giving my best bits. You should definitely check out the What's New Scooby-Doo series if you haven't already, because these episodes are really good. I grew up watching them, so I might be a little biased, but other people like this series too, so go watch it if you're looking for a Scooby-Doo fix. So I've just started on my Volume 3 DVD, Lights, Camera, Mayhem, and the opening theme came on first before the opening scene. I just want to see if it changes and write it down in case it changes to make sure I didn't go crazy. In the opening scene, we see a helicopter descent into a lair disguised as a volcano. Dr. Bikini has captured Deep River, who is a super spy in her evil lair full of henchmen. He escapes on a motorbike just as he is about to jump a shark-infested water on a motorbike. A stunt double is swapped in. Before the stunt is done, they are interrupted by the faceless phantom. We see the gang drive into Piranha Studios in the Mystery Machine. The reason the gang are here, you ask? Well, it's because Velma's aunt, who works at the studio as an accountant, managed to get them passes for a tour of the studio. The security guard mentions that security has been tightened, which seems curious. They go to the studio. Fred reminds the girls to play it cool regarding the movie stars, which of course they don't. Daphne and Velma talk to Roderick, who is the stand-in to Chip Hernandez Jr. They soon leave when they see Chip, much to Roderick's dismay. We then see the stunt actor Bull publicly leave the company. He also mentions ghosts as a reason for quitting. Fred talks to Vincent Wong, who is a famous Hong Kong action director. Vincent tells them that there is a ghost called the Faceless Phantom haunting the studio. Apparently, the Faceless Phantom is Rip Bannon, a famous movie star who disappeared in a tragic fire a long time ago. They are remaking one of the most famous ones of Rip Bannon's films. This is why the Faceless Phantom is haunting them. The gang end up becoming part of the crew. Daphne and Velma end up hearing Chip complain about the movie script and that he wants out of the film. The Phantom chases the gang again, but it doesn't deter the director from continuing with the film. Shaggy and Scooby search outside and see the costume the Faceless Phantom was wearing, and then see Roderick coming out of a trailer looking suspicious. Shaggy is bribed by Scooby Snacks to be the stuntman, and Vincent includes Scooby on the back of the motorbike. They are stopped by the Faceless Phantom while jumping the shark tank, and then saved by the Faceless Phantom before giving them a warning. We then hear a scream from Chip in his trailer. Chip's face is covered in spots. It turns out his makeup is avocado, which he is allergic to. He quits, which ends up making Fred the lead in place of Chip. Fred is then doing a stunt with bees when the Faceless Phantom shows up and the rope bridge breaks. Fred is okay but has been stung quite a bit. The gang go to the studio security room and find a scrapbook full of Rip Bannon's photos and newspaper clippings. Looks like old Pete might be a big fan. It's Velma's turn to do a stunt. She's jumping from a high fake building. She jumps, but of course the Faceless Phantom arrives. Velma's wires get stuck before letting her fall. Luckily Shaggy is on the case and drives underneath in the Mystery Machine with a mattress on top to break her fall. Luckily, Velma is not hurt at all. When looking at Velma's wires, they can't see that there's any foul play. So far, the victims of the Faceless Phantom haven't gotten hurt at all, and in the case of Shaggy and Scooby, were actually saved by the Faceless Phantom. The gang do find an extra set of wires. I suspect they belong to whoever is the Faceless Phantom. The gang agree and think the Faceless Phantom is a fake and set out to make a plan. Chip comes back to finish the movie because his lawyer said he had to. We see Daphne riding a horse alongside a train, jump over the henchmen and onto the train. The faceless phantom shows up and causes the train to separate, leaving Daphne to roll away. When the faceless phantom goes to Chip, tied to the train, it's actually Shaggy being used as bait. Fred, Velma and Scooby catch the phantom in a net, which it rips up. We then get a very funny chase scene, made even better by the fact they are at a movie studio. Shaggy and Scooby knock an oil barrel, which causes the faceless phantom to slip and fall. The gang unmasks the faceless phantom. Who do you think it is? Well, we're about to find out because it's Vincent Wong, the film's director. Did you think it was him? But why? Well, Velma explains everything. She asked Chip to come back to the set and pretend he was coming back to the film. She's asked why she didn't think Chip was the faceless phantom, and she explains that Chip can't do anything, and the faceless phantom could scale walls and do all sorts of acrobats. Daphne takes over, explaining that they knew whoever was behind the faceless phantom wanted to shut down production. The film costumer, Happy Valentine, mentions that no one wanted to make this film. Velma explains that Vincent Wong had dreamt of making an American film, but ended up getting stuck with this. She also mentions that he went to Peking Opera School, where he learnt to do all sorts of things to help with making action films and also stunts. Vincent explains that he was too excited to make an American movie that he didn't read the script until he had signed on, and only then did he realise it was rubbish. Shaggy is still confused though, because Vincent was with them when the samurai chased them. Old Pete tells Shaggy that he was the samurai. Velma tells them that Old Pete was actually Rip Bannon. Old Pete tells them that when the fire happened, he had escaped, but the fire had ruined his face, and he had been so handsome, he was ashamed to show his face to the public again. He removed his fake beard to show a tiny scar on his chin. Daphne reassures him that it's the tiniest scar, which makes him feel better. Vincent mentions that he'd rather go to jail than have his name put on the film. Fred explains that no one got hurt, and all he did was use special effects to scare them. We see Vincent get an idea. It cuts to a movie theatre showing Modem 2 as the headline. There's a red carpet which we see the gang walk after leaving the Mystery Machine. Fred congratulates Chip Hernandez Jr., Vincent Wong and Old Pete, well, Rip Bannon. Vincent Wong tells them that they never would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you wonderful, meddling kids. Chip mentions and Scooby-Doo at the end. This is a nicer version on the classic saying, the gang notice they can't find Scooby-Doo, only for him to be inside the popcorn machine. Shaggy, who was ordering food, decides he'll hold the popcorn. We see Scooby give his catchphrase and it fades to black. Okay, so that was the end of the 12th episode of What's New Scooby-Doo, Lights, Camera, Mayhem. My best bit was actually the cheesiness of the film we see. I know it's a bad film, but I kinda liked it. Also, when Vincent just put Scooby on the back of the motorbike for the stunt, it was just so bizarre, but also I guess it made the scene if Hong Kong director Vincent Wong decided it was a good idea. I loved that Fred installed an emergency nap centre for Shaggy and Scooby. It was just a cool detail. Another best bit was the chase scene when they end up on lots of different sets, like the medieval one and the battleships one. My worst bit was honestly the faceless phantom's creepy noise it makes and the voice. It was just weird. Also, Chip Hernandez Jr. was such an annoying character, so he can be one of the worst bits too. My funniest bit was when Old Pete, who is then revealed to be Rip Bannon, makes out he was horribly disfigured and he has the tiniest scar on his chin. It always makes me laugh. Also, the way Daphne and Velma act around the movie stars, it just seems so out of character for Velma, but I find it so funny. My favourite supporting character for this episode was Happy Valentine. She's so nice to Shaggy and tells him that he looks good in his stuntman outfit and that blue is his colour. I also liked it when the samurai shows up and scares them and that she hugs Scooby before running away. She's also not afraid to show her opinion, especially when she mentions that no one wanted to make the movie Spy Me a River. Not a fun fact, but I did find it interesting that even though Vincent Wong thinks that he will get arrested and put in jail, that Fred mentions he didn't do anything illegal. Although I do wonder what would have happened to Velma if Shaggy hadn't used the Mystery Machine with the air mattress on top to catch her. Also, they end up helping him make an even better movie, so everything all works out in the end. This is the end of my 12th podcast episode. Thank you for listening. I wonder if you thought the same as my best, worst and funniest bits. Was Happy Valentine your favourite supporting character this episode? Whether you agreed or disagreed, I'd love to know your thoughts about this episode, and I may even feature them in my next episode. The next episode will be Season 1, Episode 13, Pompeii and Circumstance, so get ready to listen to the next podcast. Have a very nice Valentine's Day, and if you're single, then just treat yourself. I'm going to watch a Scooby-Doo film, treat myself to some nice chocolates, and pamper myself. There is a link in any of the episode descriptions to the transcript for that particular episode, or you can just go to my website and go to the blog page and pick the episode you want. If you want to ask any questions or even just mention anything you liked about this episode, you can go to my website, meddlingpodcast.com. That's meddlingpodcasts.com, or you can email me at feedback@meddlingpodcast.com. You can DM me on Instagram @meddlingpodcast or on Twitter @meddlingp. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts about Scooby-Doo, whether it's this episode, another episode, or Scooby-Doo in general. Thanks for listening, and stay groovy.